There are 3 things every thief in Eldermere knows. Never trust a politician, never make a deal with the Crimson Hand, and never touch the Obsidian Key. Too bad Kira had already broken 2 of those rules by sundown. Now, with the city's deadliest assassins on her tail and a relic in her pocket that could unlock an ancient, forbidden power, she's running out of shadows to hide in. But Kira's never been one to follow the rules. And tonight, she's about to break the last one. Please wait. Before we start, tap that iCard button in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button. Right now, hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. Alright, let's dive into the story. Chapter 1. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the cobblestone streets of Eldermere, where the scent of freshly baked bread mingled with the crisp autumn air. A young woman with fiery red hair and a determined glint in her eyes weaved through the bustling market, her boots clicking against the stones. "Out of the way! Coming through!" she called, dodging a cart piled high with apples. A burly merchant scowled at her. "Watch where you're going, lass. You nearly took out my entire stock." She flashed him a grin over her shoulder. "Then maybe don't park your cart in the middle of the road." Without waiting for a reply, she ducked into a narrow alley where the shadows swallowed the sunlight. Her name was Kira, and she had a job to do. At the end of the alley, a figure leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Took you long enough," he drawled, tall and lean, with a smirk that never quite left his face. Rylan was the last person she wanted to see right now. Kira rolled her eyes. "I had to lose a tail. Unlike some people, I don't waltz around like I own the place." Rylan pushed off the wall, stepping into a sliver of light. "Oh, but I do own the place. Or at least, I know the people who do." He tossed her a small, polished stone, a messaging charm. "Your client's getting impatient. Want to know if you've got the package." She caught it midair, her fingers tightening around it. "Tell him it's handled, but if he thinks I'm handing it over without the rest of my payment, he's got another thing coming." Rylan chuckled, shaking his head. "Always about the coin with you, isn't it? Money keeps the roof over my head and the knives out of my back," she shot back. "Speaking of which, you're blocking my exit." He held up his hands in mock surrender, but didn't move. "Relax, Kira. I'm just here to deliver a message. But word on the street is the Crimson Hand's looking for you. Might want to lay low for a bit." Her stomach tightened. The Crimson Hand didn't send polite letters. They sent blades in the dark. "Thanks for the warning," she muttered, brushing past him. Rylan's voice followed her. "You're welcome." And Kira, she paused, glancing back. "Try not to die. It'd be a shame to lose my favorite thorn in the side." She snorted. "Don't worry. I'd hate to deprive you of the pleasure." With that, she melted into the crowd, her mind racing. The job was supposed to be simple. Steal a relic, get paid, disappear. But nothing in Eldermere was ever simple. As she slipped into the dim interior of the Black Heart Tavern, the weight of the relic in her pocket felt heavier than before. The air inside was thick with smoke and the low hum of conversation. A few patrons glanced her way, but none held her gaze for long. Good. The last thing she needed was more attention. She slid into a shadowed booth, her fingers drumming against the worn wood. The relic was more than just a payday. It was a key. And if the Crimson Hand was after it, that meant she'd stumbled into something far bigger than she'd bargained for. A server approached, setting a tankard of ale in front of her. "On the house," he murmured before disappearing. Kira frowned. Nothing was ever free in this city. She lifted the tankard, spotting a folded slip of parchment tucked beneath it. Unfolding it, her blood ran cold at the 2 words scrawled inside. "Underscore they know." Underscore the tavern door creaked open, and a hush fell over the room. Kira didn't need to look to know who just walked in. She downed the ale in one gulp and reached for the knife at her belt. Time to run. Again. Chapter 2. Marcus groaned as sunlight stabbed through his half-open blinds. His head, throbbing like a drumline, had taken up residence behind his temples. Last night's whiskey had been a mistake. A big one. He dragged a hand over his face, wincing at the rough stubble scratching his palm, then froze. Something cold and metallic pressed against his skin. He jerked his hand back, blinking at the silver band coiled around his ring finger. It was intricate, almost too perfect, etched with symbols that seemed to shift when he squinted at them. He twisted it, tugged, even yanked, but the damn thing wouldn't budge. What the hell? His voice came out hoarse, like he'd been screaming in his sleep. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, Sophia's name flashing on the screen. He swiped it open to a single message. "Tell me you're pranking me." Below it, a photo. Her hand, manicured nails, the faint scar from that long-ago bar fight, wrapped in an identical silver ring. Marcus's stomach dropped. He punched the call button. She picked up on the first ring. "Okay, funny guy." Sophia snapped, her voice sharp enough to slice through his hangover. "Where'd you get these? Some novelty shop? Because if this is your idea of a post-drinking gag, I didn't do this." Marcus sat up too fast, the room tilting. "I woke up with it. Can't even take it off. You think I'd voluntarily wear jewelry? I still use a rubber band as a wallet." A beat of silence. Then, softer. "You're serious." "Deadass." He rubbed his thumb over the ring, the metal unnaturally warm. "Did you feel anything last night? After I made that stupid joke?" Sophia exhaled slowly. "I felt cold. For a second. Like someone walked over my grave." Marcus's skin prickled. "Yeah, that." Another pause. Then, the click of her heels pacing. He could picture it, the way she always did when her mind raced. "Meet me at the cafe on 5th. 1 hour. And Marcus?" "Yeah. Bring pliers." The cafe was all exposed brick and overpriced espresso, the kind of place Sophia frequented for atmosphere, and Marcus avoided for not having bacon on the menu. She was already there, perched at a corner table like a queen holding court, her fitted navy suit making every other patron look underdressed. The ring glinted on her finger as she drummed them against the table. Marcus slid into the seat opposite her, dropping a toolbox between them with a thud. "Stole this from my super's closet. Hope you're ready for some amateur surgery." Sophia didn't smile. She just held out her hand. "You first." He grabbed the pliers, hesitated. "This might hurt. Less than whatever voodoo this is." He clamped the pliers around the ring and pulled. Nothing. He twisted. The metal didn't so much as dent. Sophia's breath hitched when he yanked harder, her knuckles whitening. "Stop," she hissed. "You're gonna deglove my finger." Marcus dropped the pliers with a clatter. "Okay, new plan. We find whoever did this. That guy in the corner last night. You saw him, right? Creepy vibe. Looked like he dressed in the Dark Ages." Sophia's eyes narrowed. "I thought he was a bartender." "He wasn't. And I think—" Marcus swallowed. "I think he was listening to us." A shadow passed over Sophia's face. Then, with forced lightness, she flicked her hair over her shoulder. "Great. So we're either cursed or the target of a very specific jewelry thief. Any other bright ideas?" Marcus leaned in, lowering his voice. "Yeah, we find out what these symbols mean before whatever's coming comes." Outside the cafe window, a figure in a long coat paused, staring straight at them, then melted into the crowd. Neither of them noticed. Chapter 3. The abandoned clock tower loomed over Eldermere's Easter district, its rusted gears frozen in time. Kira crouched on the rooftop opposite, her breath forming faint clouds in the chilly night air. The relic, now safely hidden beneath a loose floorboard in a flop house she wouldn't return to, had brought nothing but trouble. Ryland's warning echoed in her mind. The crimson hand nose. She gritted her teeth. "Should have burned that note," she muttered. A voice from behind made her jump. "But then you wouldn't have known to meet me here." She spun, dagger already in hand, only to see Ryland leaning against a crumbling chimney, arms crossed. "God damn it," she hissed. "Do you have to sneak up on me?" He grinned. "Where's the fun in announcing myself?" Kira sheathed the blade with a scowl. "What do you want? If you're here to collect a debt, you're about 3 seconds from getting a boot to the ribs." Ryland held up his hands. "Easy, Firebrand. I'm here to help." She snorted. "Since when?" "Since the Crimson Hand put a price on your head big enough to buy a noble's estate." His smirk faded. They're not playing, Kira. They've got eyes everywhere, even in the watch. A cold knot formed in her stomach. If the city guards were involved, there was nowhere left to hide. Why? She demanded. It's just a relic. What's so special about it? Ryland's gaze darkened. You really don't know, do you? He stepped closer, voice dropping. That relic is a piece of the obsidian key, the one that opens the Vault of Lorith. Kira went still. The Vault of Lorith was a legend, a trove of forbidden magic sealed away centuries ago. That's impossible, she whispered. Tell that to the 6 assassins currently combing the city for you. He tossed her a small, silver pendant. Wear this. It'll mask your scent from their hounds. She caught it, fingers tightening around the cold metal. Why are you helping me? Ryland's usual smirk returned, but it didn't reach his eyes. Let's just say I've got a vested interest in keeping the Crimson Hand from becoming all-powerful. Before she could reply, a distant clang echoed from the streets below. They both tensed. Kira peered over the edge. Shadows moved in the alley. Too many, too quiet. We've got company. Ryland cursed under his breath. Change of plans. There's a safe house near the docks. Blue door, 3 knocks, then 2. She shot him a look. And if I walk into another trap? He met her gaze, uncharacteristically serious. Then I'll see you in the afterlife, and you can stab me all you want. A shout rang out below. They're up there. Kira didn't wait. She sprinted across the rooftop, leaping the gap to the next building with Ryland right behind her. Arrows whistled past, embedding themselves in the wooden beams. Faster, firebrand! Ryland yelled. She glared back. Don't call me that. Ahead, the rooftops ended at a dead drop into the river district. Kira skidded to a halt at the edge. You call this a plan? Ryland grabbed her wrist. Trust me, she yanked free. Not even a little. The first assassin crested the roof behind them, blade glinting. Ryland sighed. Good enough. He shoved her off the ledge. Kira's scream was cut short as she hit the awning of a fishmonger's stall, rolling through the canvas before crashing onto a pile of, thankfully empty, crates. She groaned, stars dancing in her vision. I'm going to kill him. Ryland landed beside her with far more grace, hauling her up. Later. Run now. They vanished into the maze of dockside alleys, the shouts of their pursuers fading behind them. The pendant around Kira's neck hummed faintly, its magic weaving a veil around them. She glanced at Ryland, his face streaked with grime and adrenaline. However this ended, one thing was clear. She was in far deeper than she'd ever imagined. And the real game was just beginning. Chapter 4. The dream started first. Vivid, suffocating things that clung to Marcus and Sophia like wet cobwebs long after they woke. Always the same. A crumbling stone altar under a swollen red moon, their hands bound together by something darker than shadow, and a voice whispering words that slithered away the moment they opened their eyes. Marcus jerked awake at 3:17 a.m., his sheets damp with sweat. His phone lit up instantly. Sophia. You too? Marcus. Altar. Moon. Creepy ASMR voice. Yeah. Sophia. Meet me outside your building. Now. He found her leaning against her car, arms crossed, the streetlight painting her in sharp angles. No suit tonight, just black leggings and a leather jacket, her hair piled messily on her head. She looked like she'd clawed her way out of hell. You look like hell, Marcus said. Sophia flipped him off. You want to talk? Your eyeballs are competing with my coffee table for most bloodshot. Charming. He rubbed his face. So we're sharing nightmares now. That's normal. Totally normal. None of this is normal. She tossed him a to-go cup. Drink. We're going back to the bar. Marcus nearly choked on the scalding coffee. The bar? You think the creepy vow guy left a forwarding address? No, but the bartender remembers everyone. Sophia's eyes glinted. And I tip very well. The bar was nearly empty at this hour, just a couple of night shift workers nursing beers. The bartender, Lena, according to her name tag, blinked when Sophia slapped 100 on the counter. Okay, spill, Sophia said. Guy in the corner last week. Long coat, looked like he time-traveled from a Dickens novel. Who was he? Lena paled. You saw him? Marcus leaned in. You know him? He comes in sometimes. Never orders. Just watches. Lena lowered her voice. Last month, a couple left together after joking about running away. Next day, their cars were found abandoned, keys still in the ignition. Sophia's grip tightened on her cup. And nothing. They vanished. Poof. Lena shuddered. Some people say he's not really. A glass shattered in the back. All three of them jumped. Lena forced a laugh. Probably just the dishwasher. But her hand shook as she wiped the counter. Sophia slid another 100 across the bar. Give us the security footage from that night. The footage was grainy, but there he was, the man in the corner, his face oddly blurred like the camera refused to focus. When Marcus made his joke, the man's head snapped up. His lips moved. Sophia froze the frame. He's saying something. Marcus squinted. Looks like Vincent. Latin. Sophia's voice was hollow. It means he binds. A notification popped up on Marcus's phone, a news alert. His blood turned to ice. Gas leak in uptown apartment building. 1 injured. Sophia's building. Her phone rang. An unknown number. She answered. Silence. Then a whisper, thin and rasping. You made a vow. The line went dead. Sophia's hands were steady as she tucked her phone away. Too steady. We need to go. Now. Marcus didn't argue, because behind her, on the security screen, the man in the corner was gone. But the door hadn't opened. Chapter 5. The safe house reeked of mildew and old blood, its lone candle flickering like a dying heartbeat. Kira paced the cramped room, her boots scuffing against the warped floorboards. This is a disaster, she muttered, running a hand through her tangled hair. Rylan lounged on a rickety chair, balancing a dagger on his fingertip. Could be worse. She shot him a glare. How exactly? The Crimson Hand could have actually caught us instead of just chasing us through half the city. He grinned. Silver linings, firebrand. Kira snatched the dagger mid-spin and drove it into the table. Stop calling me that. And stop acting like this is some tavern brawl we can walk away from. The grin faded. Rylan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You think I don't know what's at stake? They're not just after you anymore. They know I helped you. A knock at the door silenced them both. 3 raps, then 2. Kira's hand went to her blade. You expecting company? Rylan stood slowly. Not unless you are. The door creaked open before either could move. A hooded figure slipped inside, water dripping from their cloak onto the floor. You two are harder to find than a sober priest in the Drift District, a familiar voice rasped. Kira's breath caught. Vex. The old thief pushed back his hood, revealing a face lined with scars and a smirk just as sharp as she remembered. Miss me, kid? She crossed her arms. Last I heard, you were rotting in a prison barge off the coast. Vex shrugged. Got better. His gaze flicked to Rylan. Though I see your taste in allies hasn't. Rylan's hand twitched toward his knife. Careful, old man. You're not as quick as you used to be. Vex chuckled. And you're not as pretty when you're nervous. He tossed a tattered scroll onto the table. You want to know why the Crimson Hand's tearing the city apart for that relic? Here's your answer. Kira unfurled the scroll. Faded ink detailed a map of the catacombs beneath Eldermere, and a single marked chamber labeled Loritha's Gate. Her pulse spiked. It's real. Vex nodded. And the hand's got 2 pieces of the key already. Yours makes 3. Rylan cursed under his breath. If they open that vault, every cursed artifact, every drop of forbidden magic the old kings locked away, comes pouring out. Vex finished. He looked at Kira, suddenly solemn. You've got a choice, kid. Run now. Save your own skin, or help us stop them. The candle guttered, plunging the room into near darkness. Kira stared at the map, her reflection warped in the dagger's blade. Rylan's voice was quiet. Well, she yanked the dagger free and sheathed it. Where do we start? Vex grinned. Now that's the Kira I remember. He tapped the map. There's a contact in the Scholar's Quarter, knows more about the vault than anyone alive. But we'll need to move fast. The hand's already sniffing around. Kira grabbed her cloak. Then let's stop wasting time. Rylan caught her arm as she passed. You sure about this? Once we step out that door, there's no going back. She met his gaze, jaw set. I was done running the minute they put a price on my head. Vex chuckled, heading for the door. Spoken like a true thief. He paused, glancing back. Try not to die before we get there, will you? I've got money riding on you too. Kira rolled her eyes. Charming as ever. Outside, the rain had turned the streets to rivers, the storm clouds swallowing the moon. Somewhere in the darkness, the Crimson Hand was waiting. But this time, Kira thought with a grim smile. So were they. Chapter 6. The abandoned church loomed before them, its spire clawing at the storm-heavy sky. Marcus wiped rain from his face, his fingers brushing the ring, tighter now like it was slowly digesting his finger. Remind me again why we're breaking into a haunted church at midnight, he muttered. Sophia adjusted the strap of her duffel bag, her jaw set, because the book said the keeper's seat of power is where the first vow was made. And this. She kicked a broken sign near their feet. St. Ignatius, EST 1782. Oldest building in the city. Marcus eyed the crumbling facade. Great. So we're either about to meet a ghost or get tetanus. Maybe both. A gust of wind howled through the broken stained glass, carrying the scent of wet earth and something metallic. Sophia's hand found his wrist, her nails digging in. He's here. The door creaked open on its own. Inside, candles flickered to life along the aisle, their light pooling on the altar where the keeper stood, his long coat blending with the shadows. You came. His voice was dry leaves underfoot. Wise. Marcus stepped forward, shoulders squared. Cut the ominous act. We want out of this, whatever it is. The keeper's smile split his face like a crack in old paint. The Lex Aeterna does not release. It only concludes. Sophia unzipped the duffel bag, pulling out the ancient tome they'd found. Bullshit. There's always a loophole. The keeper's fingers twitched. You found the names. Marcus's breath hitched. The scratched-out name in the book. Their frantic research had revealed the truth. Someone got out before. You don't want us knowing how. The keeper moved faster than anything human should. One moment, he was at the altar. The next, his yellowed nails were inches from Sophia's throat. Some knowledge, he hissed, is forbidden for a reason. Sophia didn't flinch. Try me. The attack came in a blur. The keeper's coat billowing like wings, the glint of something silver in his hand. Marcus barely yanked Sophia aside in time as a ritual dagger embedded itself in the pew where her head had been. Okay, Marcus panted. Definitely not a ghost. Ghosts don't throw knives. Sophia already had her own weapon out, a modified flare gun loaded with salt and iron filings. Plan B. She fired. The keeper screamed as the payload struck his chest, his form writhing like a glitching hologram. Marcus lunged for the altar, grabbing the rusted iron bell resting there, the one from their dreams. No! The keeper's shriek shook dust from the rafters. That is not from mortal hands. Sophia tackled the creature as Marcus brought the bell down onto the altar with a deafening clang. The rings on their fingers shattered. For one perfect second, there was silence. Then the keeper rose, his true form unraveling, a thing of ink and parchment skin, his mouth a yawning void of script. You will regret this, he whispered, and the church exploded into flame. Sophia grabbed Marcus's hand. Run! They burst into the storm just as the roof collapsed behind them, the keeper's howl chasing them into the night. Panting against a lamppost 3 blocks away, Marcus stared at their bare fingers. We did it. We're free. Sophia's smile was razor thin. Yeah, but what was that about regret? A drop of rain hit Marcus's cheek, warm, thick. When he wiped it away, his fingers came away black with ink. Somewhere in the dark, pages turned. Chapter 7. The ancient vault door loomed before them, its obsidian surface etched with runes that pulsed faintly in the torchlight. Kira's fingers tightened around the final key fragment, her breath coming fast. The air in the chamber was thick with the scent of damp stone and something darker, something that made the hair on her neck stand on end. Rylan wiped blood from his lip, glancing back at the carnage they'd left in the hallway. "Remind me again why we thought this was a good idea?" Vex chuckled, though the sound was strained. "Because you're both too stubborn to walk away from a fight." He nodded to the door. "That thing's been sealed for centuries." "You sure about this, kid?" Kira swallowed hard. The Crimson Hand was going to open it anyway. Better us than them. Rylan stepped closer, his shoulder brushing hers. Together, she met his gaze, then gave a sharp nod. Together, the moment the third key fragment clicked into place, the runes flared to life, burning crimson. The ground trembled as the massive door groaned open, revealing a yawning darkness beyond. Vex cursed. "That's not ominous at all." Kira stepped forward, torch raised. The vault's interior was nothing like she'd imagined. No piles of gold or glittering artifacts. Just a single pedestal at the center, holding a small, unassuming box. Rylan frowned. "That's it? All this for a jewelry case?" A voice echoed from the shadows. "Oh, it's far more than that." The Crimson Hand's leader emerged from the darkness, flanked by a dozen armed figures. Kira's heart sank. She knew that face. Councilman Dane, one of Eldermere's most powerful politicians. Vex spat on the ground. Should have known it'd be a snake in fancy robes. Dane smiled, cold and polished. "Charming as ever, Vex. But I'm afraid your little rebellion ends here." His gaze locked onto Kira. "Give me the box, and I'll make your deaths quick." Rylan drew his blades with a sharp metallic rasp. "Come and take it." Kira's mind raced. There had to be a way out, some trick, some advantage. Her eyes darted to the box. If Dane wanted it so badly. She lunged. The chamber erupted into chaos as she snatched the box from the pedestal. Dane's roar of fury shook the walls. "Kill them." Vex met the first attacker with a dagger to the throat. "Kid, whatever you're planning." Kira didn't let him finish. She threw the box to the ground with all her strength. It shattered. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the air itself seemed to scream as a blinding light erupted from the fragments. Shadows writhed, the very stone beneath them cracking apart. Dane's face twisted in horror. "You fool. Do you have any idea what you've—" The light swallowed his words. Kira felt Rylan's hand grab hers as the world tore itself apart around them. When the light faded, the vault was gone, collapsed into rubble. Dust choked the air. Kira coughed, her ears ringing. Rylan groaned beside her. "Remind me never to let you make the plans again." Vex's laughter was ragged, but triumphant. "Damn, kid, you got style." Kira stared at the ruins, then at the fading glow in her palm. A single harmless shard of the box, still warm. Whatever power had been locked away, it was free now. Scattered. Safe. Somewhere in the distance, alarms began to sound. Rylan hauled her to her feet. "We should probably run before the whole city comes down on our heads." Kira grinned, exhaustion and exhilaration warring in her chest. "Race you to the docks." Vex groaned. "I'm too old for this." But he ran anyway, the three of them vanishing into the dawnlit streets as Eldermere woke to a new day, one where the shadows held a little less power, and the thieves who'd broken the world's darkest vault became legends. For better or worse. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and, as always, keep the last light burning.